This next bloke, I can read a whole lot out here, but he deserves life membership for one single act at quarter time in 1990 when he belted Kevin Sheedy. That would be good enough alone to give this life membership. But tonight, on a night when Eloise steps up on behalf of the women of Collingwood, Eddie Hillgrove will step up tonight as one of the great men of Collingwood and one of the great Collingwood people. Ed's had a remarkable contribution. He was one of the first people I remember meeting when I was a young reporter. I'd come down to training. He'd always look after me. He always had a steady smile, bit of mucking around. Young Bugs was his little boy running around in those days, and it's great to see Bugs here tonight. And he's a true Collingwood man, no doubt about it. He went to Victoria Park Primary School. He watched training every Tuesday and Thursday. He joined the social club at age 24, signed in by the great Bill Toomey exactly 50 years ago. His career at the club is extraordinary. He joined the Reserves Committee in 1981. He was the senior 18 team manager from 83 to 2000, chairman of the Players' Welfare, and there's not been a player who's ever gone through this place that hasn't been helped by Eddie Hillgrove. He managed the training and match day operations. He was responsible for managing the coaches' messages on match days, organised the fundraising, and probably, while we didn't give him a life membership for a while, he also arranged the players' end-of-season trips. He's a great Collingwood man. He received the Special Services Award in 2004, but tonight we go that next step. In 1990, as I said, Eddie was rubbed out for 18 months after an altercation. Yeah, I mean, you know what, we can laugh about it at the moment. It was great at the time, but I tell you what, at quarter time in 1990, when Sheedy came out hunting, when Terry Danaher knocked out our very own Gavin Brown, when our blokes were looking around for somebody to fly the flag, Lee Matthews took them aside, said, "Keep your heads down, boys, you'll get the free kicks, we'll get this mob." But somebody had to square up. And Ed, you know what you did, mate? You were the personification of the Collingwood Army. You stood up, you squared up, and you fixed them up. In 1996, Wayne Jackson was the CEO of the AFL. He wouldn't leave the rooms before the game. He was buzzing around, couldn't get going. Ed quietly went over to him and threw him out of the rooms. Well done. Now, that all might sound a bit aggressive and he-manish and old school, but Ed's got a heart as big as the MCG. But there's nothing wrong with that, Ed, because, as I said, when the time came, you stepped up, not stepped down. So tonight, it is a great privilege to welcome another one of our civilians to the life membership of the Collingwood Football Club, one of the great Collingwood men, Mr. Eddie Hillgrove.
Thank you, Eddie. I must admit it's very difficult to follow someone like Eloise in her speech. My prepared speech is somewhere, I don't know where, but it is an enormous honour to be up here tonight. I really mean that. As Eddie said, I was born and bred in Collingwood, lived in Yarra Street, raised in Yarra Street, and I think Mum started taking me to Vic Park when I was about 3 and a half. Thanks, mate. About time you helped me. I've been getting you out of trouble for years. But it is great, and when I became team manager back in 83, I think it was one of the greatest thrills that could ever be bestowed upon anybody. As I said, and when you get that honour and to become a life member, it's just something you dream of and never expect you will get it. And so it is a great honour. I've been very blessed with the Special Services Award I got, Hall of Fame last year through the 1990 Premiership side, and now looking after the boys in the VFL. It is also one of the biggest thrills you could have, because there's nothing more pleasing than seeing the development of a lot of these people. And I was in here when a few of these board members first come to the club. I was here when Macca first come to the club as a player, when Purdy first come to the club as a player, and with Eddie when he was a snotty-nosed bloody Channel 10 reporter trying to get inside information when he was about 17 or 18 years of age. And I remember just quickly, a quick story, we were up in Darwin and somebody got left behind and I had to wait for it and I had to send the team out to the Carrara ground and Eddie was out the front there and he said, "What are you doing, mate?" I said, "I'm waiting for a cab to go at the ground." He said, "Well, I'm waiting for a freelance photographer," because in those days there wasn't many people in Darwin who knew anything about the media. And he said, "Why don't you come out with us?" And I said, "Well, that's okay, as long as I get out the ground as quick as I can." So Eddie jumped in the front seat of this car and I jumped in the back seat. And you might remember this, Eddie, we're doing about 120 k's an hour down the highway and a car passes, a ute, with a flat-top trailer on the back that must have been doing 160 k's an hour with a horse tethered to the back of the ute, not the trailer, a flat-top trailer. Its mane was straight out and its tail was straight out. And God knows, I always wonder what happened to that horse after we ever stopped. But it is a great thrill, and even I remember when our current coach Bucks first came to the club, and never a more emphatic person have I come across. A bloke who did his best in every aspect as he could to develop himself as a player. And there's no doubt he's certainly doing that as a coach now. Competitive. I've never seen anybody more competitive. And I think while we've got Bucks as coach, there's only one way we're going to continue. And I must admit it was a huge pleasure to me to have Bucks sitting down there tonight while I'm giving this award. Even Rowan Bounds, who I think I gave Rowan the job 25 years ago, it would be roughly now. And as I say, and to see these young players and the people up on the table there tonight, it is a great honour to me. It's something you dream of and never expect to get. So I am deeply honoured to get it tonight, and this will live in my memory for many, many years to come. And another thing, what Eddie says about you supporters, you are sensational. And if it wasn't for the supporters too, I don't think any of us would be around here tonight. And it's always a privilege to watch the look on your supporters' face every time we have a win. And let's just hope under Bucks' guidance we have plenty of them this year, which I'm sure we will. So stick with us, and thank you. Sorry, just one other thing too. Bucks, he's always got to remind me of things I forget. I couldn't have seriously done this because most of you are aware football does take up a lot of spare time. To Mark. Sorry. My partner has been with me for nearly 30 years now, through all of this. My son Anthony, his wife Janine, who come back from England about 8 or 9 months ago. And my gorgeous little granddaughter Lily, who I wouldn't be without. That's been great. And thank you once again. Thanks, Buck.
Well done, Clive. Great job, Rick.